Have you given up on your 2025 goals already? If so, it's not too late to get back on the horse. And this is why they created this thing called National Quitters Day. So some people say it's on the 10th of January, some people say that it's on the 17th of January, and some people actually say that it's just the second Friday in January. Regardless of what you believe, I think we can all agree that society as a whole has a pretty bad problem with commitment and a pretty bad problem with persistence and stick-to-itiveness. So that is why I'm creating this video, which is the top 10 reasons that people fail their New Year's resolutions. So let me just get into, or before I get into number one, I just want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Max Crone. I have went through a few very bad car accidents, and I've also learned a lot of lessons through a spinal cord injury that left me paralyzed from the neck down. So this channel is all about understanding adversity in a positive way. So let's just get into it. I'm going to be looking at this throughout the video. So the number one is unclear goal. So that is going to be what a lot of people call as a vivid vision. And people advocate for this because it's so powerful. If you want to get to the best physique that you've ever had, or if you want to make the most money you ever had, it's a better idea to, instead of having that your goal, attach a number to it, attach a weight to it. For me personally, I guess I don't know exactly how much I weigh right now, but let's just say I'm 185. That's probably right around what I weigh. If I want to look the best I ever have, I need to set a goal of losing 15 pounds. If I lost 15 pounds, I would probably look the best I ever have. But I can't just say, look the best I ever have. Or if I want to make the most money I ever have, I'm not going to go into this personally, but instead of saying, I want to make the most money I ever have, say, I want to make $100,000 this year, or I want to make $150,000 a year, or this year. Whatever is realistic, but also stretches your belief system, stretches what you think to be possible, because you are possible of more than you think. You just need to kind of step out the box and realize that there is a way to get there. And it's okay to dream, but more on that later. Number two is lack of a plan. So now that we have a vision, we need a plan. We need a path to get there. And the path isn't just going to be, point A to point B. The path is going to deviate. So this can change a little bit. But what I want you to do is be objective and take that goal, whatever your goal is, write down a strategic plan, a strategic path as far as what are the tasks that I need to do every single day that will get me there, or every week that'll get me there. So for losing weight, this could be, I need to make sure that I am under 2,800 calories every single day. And that way I will be in a deficit of however many calories, you are from your maintenance, whatever. Or if I want to sell, let's just say I have a product business, a skincare business, and I want to sell 200 units every single month. Well, if by February I'm only selling 20, then that's something that you got to think about. You got to think about, or if I'm selling 40, it's like, all right, well, I have a more realistic path of getting there. But you have, if your goal is 200, then setting KPIs for each month, setting goals for each month is probably a good idea. But that isn't the path. Sorry, I probably just confused you a lot with that. That isn't the path. The path is, I need to reach out to store owners. I need to, improve my website SEO so more people come to my website and more people buy the product that I'm going to sell. So maybe that path is spend 1 hour every single day working on SEO, or contact 10 business owners every single week to put my product in their store. That is a clear path. And if you want to get even more granular, you could say do your research, but figure out the best method of outreach to those companies and say, I will Instagram DM small businesses in my area to put my product in. See, that's how you can go from a very foggy path, a very foggy expectation of what you're actually going to have to do to get to that goal, and narrow it down so you actually have action steps. You have exactly what you need to do, and now if you don't do it, that's on you. But just saying, I want to sell the most units I've ever sold, or I want to make the most money I've ever made. All of those things don't have a clear, not defining those does you such a disservice because you can't actually measure your progress. And that can be disincentivizing and that can discourage you to keep going. So number 3 is unrealistic expectations. Now, sometimes you have to set what seems like unrealistic expectations, but especially if you've set some goals in the past, you know what you shouldn't set. Like you know those goals that so for example, I am 185 right now, and like I said, once if I got down to 160, so or 170, sorry, if I lost 15 pounds, if I lost any more than that, I would look the best I ever have. So 15 pounds would get me there. But if I were to set the goal of I want to lose 25 pounds, it's not unrealistic, but it's starting to get to almost a dangerously low body fat percentage. Losing 25 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds. If I lost 40 pounds, I would be 140 pounds. And for someone who's 6'1", 6'2", that's starting, and especially, I don't mean to, this is not being, cocky in any way, but like I have some muscle mass on my body, so I have to be aware of that. I don't want to lose muscle. So like an unrealistic expectation would be losing 40 pounds. That is, that would be very, very unhealthy for me to do. But, or if you want to go the financial route, if you've never made your first dollar online, I would be hard pressed to believe that by January 1st, 2026, you're going to make $1 million in your first year, with online businesses. So it's just something to think about. Shoot for the stars. There are always people who achieve the things that they set out to achieve, and you're not going to out earn your self-worth, and you're not going to out earn what you believe to be possible. So shoot for the stars, but don't set unrealistic expectations. Don't set things that are almost not even possible. With that being said, you want to bear in mind these goals have to almost scare you. They need to be almost unrealistic. So I guess very fine line, but as long as you're pushing yourself, there's no goal too small, I guess you could say. So let's move on to number 4, lack of consistency. So this one is very big and it's sneaky because you wake up and you look at your alarm clock or your phone, and you say, I don't think I'm going to the gym today. And that might not seem like that big of a deal, but the first time you do it, it's like, okay, I'm not going to do that tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and maybe you don't. But then the next day, you're like, all right, I worked out tomorrow. I'll just work out. I worked out yesterday. I'll just work out tomorrow. And then you go down this cycle of just slowly chipping away at your self-accountability. And when you do this, you lose, like I said, you lose that self-accountability that enables you to do hard things. And those little tiny wins, getting up when your alarm clock goes off. Those tiny wins will fuel you and kind of push you through those harder times, the things that are more difficult, the things that you really don't think that you can get through. Those little tiny wins will give you fuel and will give you that push, that fuel that you need to persist. So lack of consistency is a huge, it's one that sneaks up on you. So definitely be aware of that. And when, something that I will actually put in here, I wasn't going to talk about this, but you have the clear path, and that might be a lot for you to handle. So contacting 10 people a day, or staying under 2,000 calories a day. That might be hard. Or going to the gym 4 times a week. That might be hard. What you can do instead is say, okay, or not instead, but in addition to, I'm going to shoot for 4 times a week, but there's no possible way that I don't go to the gym at least 2 times. In the 7 days, I need to go to the gym at least 2 times. And you can do this for any goal. But this will keep you on the horse. Like, this will keep you in the game that is, achieving your goals. And those 2 times might not sound like a lot, but some people will give up in the first month. 80 to 90% of people will give up on their New Year's resolutions in the first month. A lot of the times, this is going to the gym. You know how many days in weeks that they miss? Out of the 52 weeks, let's see, 48 of those are not in January. So you go the first month, and let's just say you make it the full month, but then from February on, you don't go to the gym. As opposed to going to the gym just those 2 times that you set out to do. Those 2 times will give you 100 days over the course of a year that you wouldn't have went. And that will do amazing things for your health. And that's something to be proud of in itself. So don't worry, don't beat yourself up if you don't go that 4 times. Set a standard and meet the standard. I think that's a Jocko Willink quote. Anyway, lack of consistency. That's number 4. So number 5 is not tracking your progress. So, like I said, goals and paths, they should have trackable metrics. So your goal is, I want to sell 200 units every single month by January 1st. I want to do that from then on. So if by the middle of the year, June, July, if you're not selling at least 80 to 100 units every single month from at that point, you might not be on track. I mean, it might be part of a bigger plan. You might be on track. You might be at 60, 70 and climbing at a good rate. But you got to think about, well, is this going to be realistic, or what do I need to change? Am I sticking to those things that I need to do, the behaviors and the tasks that I need to achieve or accomplish every single day to get to that end goal? Am I sticking to my plan? Am I sticking to my vivid path? So that is kind of the importance of not tracking your progress. If you don't track your progress, it's a lot easier to be discouraged. It's a lot easier to say, for that negative self-talk to creep in, which I'll talk about in just a second. But with that being said, number 6 is no accountability. So just a quick tangent on accountability. This is something that I am very passionate about, and I'm very passionate about goals, achieving my goals, but also helping others achieve their goals and also get through the adversity that they're going through. So what I did is, in pursuit of building something bigger than myself, I am creating a community all around, achieving your goals and helping others achieve their goals. And this community actually incentivizes you to participate And it does it by virtue of a point system. So every like that you get on either a post or a comment will get you a point, and these points contribute to rewards, and these rewards can I haven't set up the exact reward system, but you'll probably appreciate the rewards. This could be, what I'm thinking is Zoom calls, weekly Zoom calls. Every single month you'll have 4 or 5, and this might be a speaker. This might be me talking specifically on a certain subject. This might be just a open Q&A. But like I said, I haven't defined those, so I'm not going to go too in depth on that. But that is kind of a brief rundown of, it's called Beyond Blessed, because I feel beyond blessed to be able to not only share my message, but also, I mean, I'm grateful for the smallest things, if you know my story. But and I have a video on my entire, well, not my entire story, but my story with my paralysis. It's coming up in probably 2 weeks. It takes a lot of editing, so yeah. But be on the lookout for that. Hit the notification bell if you're at all interested, and subscribe. And yeah, so accountability. Number 6, accountability. I'm going to tell you one thing. I have went to the gym alone. I have went to the gym with my brother. I have went to the gym with my friends. And I can tell you one thing for absolute certain. It's so much easier to go to the gym with friends. With someone else that gives me the idea, hey, we should probably go to the gym today. I'm like, all right. And that doesn't, so for me at this point, going to the gym is something that I look forward to, but it wasn't always the case. And it wasn't always the case in a time where I needed an accountability partner. And that is when, that's when I worked out with my brother quite often. So I worked out, it was normally summers that this would happen. And when me and my brother were both living at my mom's house, he'd say, are we lifting today? Or he would just kind of come down when I'm watching YouTube, something like that. And he would ask me, so what are we hitting? And I'm like, honestly, I wasn't planning on lifting today. And he just wouldn't let that happen. So find your accountability partner. And like I said, if you're at all interested in some extra accountability, I can tell you one thing for sure. I will absolutely personally hold you accountable in Beyond Blessed. I can guarantee you that. So if you don't have an accountability partner, you can rely on me. I will be in there making sure you're hitting your goals. And that's actually a question before you get into Beyond Blessed. You're going to be asked, what's one big goal that you have for the next 3 months? Yeah, so I think I beat that horse as much as it needed to be. Number 7, focusing on the outcome, not the process. So a lot of people focus on the outcome and get discouraged when they don't have the outcome. A lot of people focus on the outcome, and 3 months, 6 months go by, and they feel like they haven't moved the ball. And this can be extremely discouraging. And when you're discouraged, well, let me ask you a question. Do you feel more or less able? Do you feel more or less competent when you're discouraged or when you're encouraged? I feel like the obvious answer there is when you feel encouraged. So when you don't feel like you are making progress, when you have those tough days, it can be really hard to keep going when you focus on the outcome. Because what you do is, like I said, you get down on yourself because you don't have that yet, and you just keep thinking like, when is it going to come? When is it going to come? When am I going to have my time? I feel like I'm so close, and every day is just fixated on that outcome and not having it. And for some people that's very motivating, but for a lot of people, for most people, it's just discouraging. So a more reliable way of kind of getting that energy, that motivation, I guess you could say, is focusing on the process. So I'll give you a really good example of from me personally. So, as some of you know, I had my spinal cord injury, leaving me paralyzed from the neck down. And when I was in the ICU, before, by the time I got into recovery, the facility that I was in, Craig Hospital, amazing facility, probably the best facility for spinal cord injuries in the world. But before I got into that facility, I had very limited function of anything, and I was in the ICU for 8 days. 8 days, I had very limited function. I had flickers of the fingers, I had flickers of the toes, I had some movement going on, which I was absolutely blown away by, and I used that as fuel. But anyway, um, when I was in there, it, I couldn't even fathom, setting the goal of walking again, because I couldn't even lift my foot an inch off the bed. So there were so many micro steps that, one milestone is lifting your foot off the bed. The next milestone, well, it starts off by being able to wiggle your toes, then it's being able to move your foot, then it's being able to, move your foot off the bed, then it's bringing the knee to the chest, and then, and this is all while laying down. Forget sitting up, forget actually on your feet. So it took a really, really long time of setting like micro goals, and focusing on the smaller picture, and focusing on the things that you have to do, the tasks, and the vivid path. Number two, lack of a plan. The vivid path that it takes to get to that goal, which is, putting what I call the outcome blinders on, and saying, okay, I'm not gonna look at the goal. I know my goal, but I'm not gonna look at it. I am going to focus on the tasks or the behaviors that are going to get me there. And that's why, defining a plan, defining a vivid path to your vivid goal is absolutely crucial. So focusing on the outcome and not the process. So you want to not fail your New Year's resolutions, focus on the process, not the outcome. And number 8, negative self-talk. This is a destroyer of all goals, and all things good is negative self-talk. Oh my gosh. So an example of this, and this is something this is a quote that I kind of created, I guess you could say, and this is after learning a lot about myself and a lot about adversity through my accident. And it goes like this. So positivity leads to persistence, and persistence leads to growth. Negativity leads to hopelessness, and hopelessness leads to quitting. So if you take that second part, negativity leads to hopelessness, and hopelessness leads to quitting, just think about the negative self-talk that's going on in your head, like, oh, I can't do this, oh, I could never do this, and the things, like the bad things that you have going on in that day, you amplify those, like, of course that would happen to me, of course, and just think about all of the things that come with adversity: anger, stress, anxiety, pity, all of these things you want to focus on. It's not going to get you anywhere. So why don't you focus on empowering beliefs and being positive, silencing that negative self-talk, and focus on positivity, because positivity is going to lead to feelings of encouragement, feelings of determination and motivation, and it's gonna feel like you can do it. It's gonna feel like you're closer than you probably are, but that's a good thing, because if you constantly feel that way, you will you'll keep going. It'll give you that reason to keep going. And the farther you go, the more likely you are to get to that goal. It sounds kind of obvious, but the further you go, if you quit, the more progress that you discard. So that's kind of what I mean by that. Number 9 is underestimating the challenge. So a lot of people will set relatively unrealistic expectations and unrealistic goals of what they're able to accomplish. And this, in my opinion, is one of the bigger ones. When you underestimate the challenge, everything else gets harder. But being consistent, not having negative self-talk creep in, not tracking your progress, not staying consistent, all of these things amplify if you do underestimate the challenge. And one of my favorite quotes by Alex Hormozy goes something like this: "You expected it to be hard, and now it's hard. Reality is now matching expectations." So if you break that down, you really understand, like, if you're being logical, you know that the person that you are isn't that person that has that goal. So you need to change to get there. If it were easy, if your goals were to come easy, you would already have that, or it's not worth getting. So of course it's going to be hard to sell 200 units a month. Of course it's going to be hard to lose 30 pounds. Of course these things are going to be hard. So when things actually do get hard, when you try to wake up and you hit that snooze button, you just lost. You just lost. And like I said, that chips away your self-accountability and all of those things. So when times get hard, you just think about that quote right there. When times get hard, reality meets expectations. Now it's hard. What are you going to do? So that is number 9, underestimating the challenge. Big reason why, and the number 9th reason why people fail their New Year's resolutions. And number 10, in my opinion, is the biggest one of them all. So number 10 is lack of emotional interest. So just think about any goal that you've ever accomplished. And now think of why you accomplished that goal. There was a reason why you set out to accomplish that goal. You accomplished the goal, and you probably have a lot of pride for that, rightfully so, but there was a reason why. And that was driving you, whether you knew it or not. That was driving you to accomplish the goal that you already achieved. Now think about it. Think about the goals that you have set for this year. Why would you not give yourself all of the reasons in the world to achieve this goal? And some people have the goal of losing a couple pounds because they want to look the best that they've ever looked at the beach, the 4 or 5 times that they go to the beach in the summer. But really try to think about what impact these goals actually have, not only on yourself, but others around you. So, for example, would I be more respected if I lost 10 pounds? Respected in the eyes of my wife, in the eyes of my friends? Would my cognition be better? Would I be more capable of defending my family if I was a little bit faster, if I was a little bit stronger? Would I be more capable of providing for my family if I made a little bit more money? All of these things are deeper reasons why you should reach those goals. And another thing that is going to sound very materialistic, and I mean, it kind of is, but this is something that has helped me in the last even few weeks, but it's helped me over the course of my life, and that is to set just having dreams and having things that you want in the way future, like the far future, or the midterm future, or just long-term future in general. But having materialistic things that you'll buy yourself, or things that you want to have in the future, like a nice car or a nice house. This is not selfish, and especially if you think about it in this lens. For me personally, I want a nice house when I get older because I want to have all of my family, all of my my relatives. I want to say, hey guys, Thanksgiving is at my place this year. Christmas is at my place this year. I would be honored to host everybody. And it's you don't tell people I bought this house to, to impress you guys. No, I just think back to my childhood. I would love going over to my relatives' homes because a couple of relatives of mine had pretty nice homes. Nothing crazy, especially thinking back. But when I was a little kid, I thought it was just a complete a complete mansion, and it's probably 2,500 square feet, 3,000 square feet. A couple of these my relatives' homes, but that was humongous to me. And for me personally, like some of my goals are, have a home that's 10,000 square feet. Like I couldn't even imagine if I stepped foot in a 10,000 square foot home as a little 12-year-old, what that would open my eyes up to. So that's just something. So that's just a personal, reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is is to provide that to my family and provide that to my extended family, my immediate family, myself, and there's no reason that should be looked down upon. You got to look out for you. You got to look out for your family, and if your family and if people that you love like those things, then you might even be obligated to do so. So that is lack of emotional interest. So I'm going to wrap this point up with just saying, if you don't have a reason for doing something, why would you do it? And this sounds so simple, but a lot of people are creating these goals and they're not attaching a reason or multiple reasons. Bonus points if you attach multiple reasons, multiple deep reasons to one goal, and do that for the 4 or 5 goals that you have. You are going to be so much more likely to actually achieve those goals than the rest of the 90% of people who don't achieve their New Year's resolutions. So with that being said, let me just again share my Beyond Blessed community. That is a community where people can go and collaborate on their goals and hold each other accountable, and are incentivized to hold each other accountable because of a point system that earns you rewards. And yeah, so it's going to be an amazing place, and there's power in numbers. So please, if you can, share this with a friend that might have some interest in this as well. So it's going to be the only link in my description, so please go check that out. Just fill your name in. It's going to take you 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and I promise you, when it does go live, the investment is going to be microscopic compared to what it's going to return you. I can guarantee you, I don't even have a guarantee yet, but if you don't like what you see and don't like what you're receiving in the community, you can just email me and I'll give you 100% of your money back. I promise you. But this is going to be the best money that you ever spend, especially if you are a goal-oriented person and you want to achieve more. You know that you're set out to achieve more. You know that you're here to become great and become a better person. So that being said, I appreciate every single one of you. And just remember, a better and more enjoyable life is on the other side of understanding adversity in a positive way. I'll see you guys next time.